I still vividly remember being a six handicapper, and I very much enjoyed being a six handicapper because I was the type of six handicapper who was a young golfer, aspiring, wanting to be way better than a six handicap golfer, and I could make and give myself lots of opportunities for birdie. And the reason for this was quite simply distance. I was able to capitalise on short par fours and the par fives around my home golf course of Shirley Golf Club, and I very much enjoyed it. And I'd make mistakes, which is why I was a six handicapper, but my six handicap came tumbling down from six to a +3 with inside a golfing season, and the reason was distance. And throughout my time on YouTube, I have documented a few things about what made a difference. And one video that I created probably about a year ago now was a lesson that I vividly remember having with the local pro, where he talked about shaking hands with the target. This is still very, very important, because what's happening nowadays with golf instruction and with amateurs alike is you're getting really convinced by the idea that you shouldn't use your arms at the bottom part of the golf swing. And we know this isn't true. So when we look at a professional golfer, we always see very strong similarities. What we notice is if we pause a pro when the club shaft is parallel towards the ground, we'll notice the way the hands are opposite the right thigh. And then what we notice is between this position here and the post-impact position here, where I'm demonstrating, the back of my left wrist is facing towards you guys, as we see with all tour pros, and then by the time we get towards that post-impact position, the back of the left wrist is now facing very much towards the target. So in the bottom part of this golf swing, we know there has to be an element of arm rotation. Now, what happens is we still kind of open up and keep turning during that time. Okay, so we would kind of hit the golf ball, the arms would be turning, but because the chest will keep moving, we get very familiar with this position here where the club face looks really stable, and we associate that you shouldn't do anything with your hands and arms whatsoever. And that's just not true. Okay, so a great swing thought, I still think very much to this day, for the majority of golfers that I get the chance to work with, is get the feeling of shaking hands with the target, and I promise you, you'll be puring the golf ball before you know it. Now, if you want to take that a little bit further, and you want to start getting a feeling of whipping the club, okay, as we come in towards the downswing, then I've got a really good training aid, but a really good idea of exactly what you want to be doing. So what should happen if we focus on what's known as our hand path, which is how our hands should move in the golf swing, is in the backswing position, we're going to move the hands away from the body, okay, as we go in towards this backswing. And then as we start the downswing, what's going to happen is our hands are going to come down on a kind of what would be known as a narrowing hand path, which essentially means the hands aren't going to work really wide as we come in towards the downswing position. Okay, now the reason for this is a couple of things. One, your hands, okay, are going to be moving away from the body in the backswing position, but the reason why you're going to have this, or you should have this narrowing as you start the downswing, is because as we sequence the downswing, your upper arm should move towards the side of your body. So as your lower arm moves away from your upper arm, which is this motion, which will happen very naturally, as long as your upper arm moves to the side of your body, can you see the way my hands get into that position that I referenced earlier, which is what we see with all the pros. And that is going to give you the capability to whip the club. If you do something like this, which is more of a sort of casting motion, that's why you won't whip it. And the thing that surprises most golfers is when you sort of practice with a very simple rope-like training aid, you'll start to get a sound for that whip. So you can see the reason why I absolutely love my Swing Buddy is because I can put it in the hands of students, and if a student thinks I'm not supposed to roll my hands and I'm not supposed to be doing anything, it's always like this. Can you hear the way that whip is happening over on this side? We don't want that. See, if I move my upper arm, see the way I'm getting that whip happening past the ball. And what that's doing is that's conditioning my arm to be liberated, my body to turn. See the way I'm pivoting nicely around that left leg, and I can start to release the club. And that's why single-handedly, that lesson that I had many, many years ago, where the pro said to me, shake hands with the target, is so important, because thinking about what your hands are doing in the golf swing is arguably the most important thing. The amount of golfers I meet that talk about body movement, using the ground, all these other things, I'm not saying they don't exist, but what I am saying is if you're not aware of what your hands should be doing, then you're going to struggle in your golf swing, because you can feel what your hands are doing. You can teach yourself to position your hands differently, and that's why they make a big difference. So work on it, shake hands with the target. If you're interested, then you can find out more details about the Swing Buddy down below. I'll see you soon.